You are Locked On Dolphins POSTCAST. Part of Locked On Sports Miami on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is up, Fins fans? Welcome to your Locked On Dolphins postcast. My name is Jim Gries. Call me Gries, Gries, at Jim Gries _ on social media. And man, oh man, what a day today for your Miami Dolphins. A huge win at home against the New England Patriots. They sweep the Patriots for the season for the second year in a row. First time in about 25 years. They have done that, but New England had no chance from the start in this game. The defense playing hard, playing fast, getting pressure on Drake May from the jump. No running game for New England, and all kinds of commotion and havoc being caused and wreaked by the Miami Dolphins on defense. But this game was about offense. This game was about Tua Tagovailoa digging into his bag all game long. And we talked about it leading up to the season during the preseason when these guys weren't playing. We talked about it when Tua was hurt and he was out and the offense was going nowhere. It's about getting the ball to your weapons. They spent all that money on Tua, all that money on receivers, all that money on the offense. And we are seeing now as he's in his bag, Jonnu Smith having a huge game, Jalen Waddle, 2 more touchdowns for Achane, Tyreek getting more involved. Tua's in his bag, Mike McDaniel's in his bag, and the Dolphins get the big win over New England, a conference win, a division win, and they are the 8th place team in the AFC right now. The Colts lost. Dolphins, dare I say, making a playoff push. This is your Locked On Dolphins postcast. My name is Jim Gries. Call me Gries, and what a day it is today. I want to thank you for making us your first watch/listen here today, and we're here all the time after every Dolphins game, just so you know, on Locked On Sports Miami on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. So that means Apple Podcasts, that means Spotify, that means iHeart, that means Stitcher, Podbean, iTunes, wherever you get your podcasts. And today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. That's right, you guys know how I feel about FanDuel. We talk about FanDuel a lot here on the network. You can keep that NFL season going, keep that hot streak, baby, with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You're going to get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And what an awesome win for the Miami Dolphins. Like, really, where do you start? You know what I mean? And we're going to be uploading a lot of these things here today for you. Later on in the show, we got the star of the game. We might have a couple stars of the game, to be honest with you, today for the Miami Dolphins, with a really big performance by Tua to start it off here. And this is going to aggravate me every time I try to update these things and upload them on StreamYard. It just will not let me. Drives me nuts. It says upload is taking too long, and it shows it right away, like instantly. Upload is taking too long. Connectivity issue. There is no connectivity issue. It's an uploading issue on StreamYard that we've got to get fixed. So we'll deal with that a little bit later in the show. But for right now, man, let's just get down to business. We don't got no time to play around. What is this? The Miami Dolphins with one of the best quarters you'll see a team play in the second quarter today. On both sides of the ball, just flying. The speed was overwhelming. You know, it was a beautiful day in Miami, so it wasn't like one of those early season hot games. But man, oh man, they just came out in the second quarter and dominated. Now, the drive that led to the score, the first score of the second quarter, had started in the first quarter. But, you know, New England goes 3 and out on their opening drive. Miami on their opening drive picks up 1 first down, but then they are unable to convert. And then on the second drive, New England starts to move the ball. And they're really starting to look good on offense. Couple of good plays by Drake May. And then something happened that became a theme of this game for the Patriots, which was an offensive penalty, right? And their left tackle had 4 penalties today, one of them on this play. They ended up having to replay second down. They had 4 penalties already in the first 2 drives of the game. So you're back on a 2nd and 16. It's the second drive of the game. You're starting to move the ball. And therein became a theme in this game today. And that was throughout the game today, they could not move the ball. They just could not move the ball on this Miami Dolphins defense, and they were constantly finding themselves in 2nd down and long, 3rd down and long, and I still can't upload these. It breaks my heart with StreamYard. I don't understand why this is always happening, but it was constantly 3rd and long, and then later in the game, 4th downs for New England. They miss a field goal. It hits the upright, and then all of a sudden, that little bit of momentum that they had started to build on offense was gone for New England. And, Calais Campbell with a big stop. They did a draw play on 3rd and 16. And, Chop Robinson drew a hold on 2nd down and long. Chop really looked good today. He looked better than he's looked all season. It was his best game of his rookie campaign. And, you look at the Dolphins with Tua and without Tua. I made a note of it as they had accentuated this and pointed it out on the telecast, right? 11.7 points a game without Tua, 27.8 with. So you're talking about 16 points per game difference. You're talking about 40 more passing yards. You're talking about 27 more total yards, and you're talking about a 34% third down conversion rate improvement with Tua on the field versus off the field. And he hit 5 for his first 6 today. He was unbelievable. So early on in the game, it was the Jonnu Smith show. A 12-yard gain to Jonnu, and this is where they really started going down the field here. Tua with a hard count gets New England to jump. 5 penalties for 30 yards for New England already at that phase of the game, but you could already see it. A 12-yard pass to Jonnu Smith, a 24-yard hit to Jalen Waddle. So good at work in the middle of the field, that 10 to 25-yard range with those inside cuts, and just unbelievable. They get them to jump, a 5-yard penalty when they didn't even have to run a play before the end of the quarter. And, you look at the only thing, the time of possession was double for New England, and they had outrushed Miami 56-8, but it was all the passing game for the Dolphins early on in this game that got them going. Once again, you're watching the Miami Dolphins postcast, the only post-game show you should be watching right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jim Gries, call me Gries, Locked On Sports Miami, and of course here with the post-game show for the Canes, the Heat as well. We'll have one later today, but right now we're doing Dolphins. So, Tua taking them right down the field. The second quarter starts and bang, it really is, you're down by the goal line. It's 7 yards for the touchdown. You're doubling Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on the goal line. That's what the Patriots were doing. Can you believe that? They're doubling both of them down by the goal line. Jonnu Smith is literally wide open, on pace for a career year, coming here from Atlanta. This is what we thought we'd see from Jonnu. We thought we would see Tua. He masters that mid-range game and, of course, the short game, as well as, if not better than any QB in the league. Didn't really see much of that, the deep ball today for Miami, but believe you me, as these weeks start to add up, and 3 wins in a row, and before that it was the Buffalo game. So 4 weeks in a row, this offense has been on point, right? The Buffalo game when Tua played at Buffalo and they had a shot to win, it took that deep field goal to beat them. Plus they self-destructed with penalties down the stretch in that game. And then the 3 wins in a row, the Rams, the Raiders, and now the Patriots. We talked about this before that stretch. Should they start trading players? Calais Campbell could have been on the block. No, they were still in contention. This is why you're a game under 500. You go to Green Bay Thursday night, Thanksgiving. It's a short week. I know, not a real physical game today. No one really got banged up. Anthony Walker notwithstanding with the hamstring. So you go to Green Bay against a team that hasn't been great in its own right, underachieving in the Packers. And you got a chance to get to 500. You were already at number 8. The Colts lost today. I see the Dolphins surging. I said it before the season here on this show. I said it on ESPN radio and TV whenever I've been on there. Tua was an MVP candidate for me, and the Dolphins were Super Bowl contenders before the season. It was a disaster at the start. It could not have started any worse, minus ATN with the fumble and gifting him that game against Jacksonville in the opener. But besides that, it was a real tough start for Miami. But in the second quarter today, it all came together. We saw it in the Buffalo game. We saw it in the Rams game. We saw it some in the Raiders game. And look, it was inconsistent today. We'll get to that later. In the second half, there wasn't anything there offensively for Miami, but the defense just kept pouring it on. Zach Sealer had a game. You can see why they let Christian Wilkins go. Zach Sealer with a hell of a game. Ogba played great up front. Calais again, and the best game of the young career for Chop Robinson. I can't do the tomahawk chop. I can't do the motion. I got to kind of bring my chop down here and give you a little angle like this because there's no way I can't even do it because, I'm a Canes guy. But before we hit the first break, that was when the Dolphins go down the field. Jonnu gets the touchdown, 4 catches, 37 yards and a touchdown already. Had 2 catches for touchdowns the week before, 4 on the season, 3 in the last 2 games for Jonnu Smith. It's hard not to make him a player of the game, which he was the last couple of weeks, but we have 2 others for you today. If StreamYard will let me upload these graphics, and it's been a big if lately with all these things, and I've tried a lot. But Sanders hit his 72nd straight PAT on that drive, but then you could see the defense. It's 7-0. You could see him playing fast. You could see him pinning their ears back. Chop gets a sack on the next possession for New England, and then bang, they're off the field, and the Dolphins have the ball, and it was awe-inspiring, man. 4 possessions, 4 scores in the second half for them. The last one, a field goal that should have been a touchdown. Then they get the ball back, bang, Tua Tagovailoa, 13 yards, bang, Achane, 5 yards off tackle, bang, Tua to Waddle, 17 yards, 2 catches, 17 yards for Waddle and a first down there. Achane to an incomplete pass from Tua, one of the few in the first half for Tagovailoa. But then, a wide receiver screen to Malik Washington. That would set up something a little bit later on in the game, goes for a yard. But then Tua to Waddle, 14 yards, 3 catches, 55 yards for him so far. It's a first down. No gain on the pitch to Mostert. And then, you know what I'm saying? Man, it just absolutely continued from there. A screen pass to Achane, a touchdown for Miami, 18 on the season total for Achane. Later we get another one, 19 on the year for him. But then New England starts to fall apart, holding on them as soon as they get the ball back. One bad thing for Miami, Anthony Walker gets hurt, but Tua and the Dolphins get the ball back. Bang, Tua to Waddle, 15 yards. Bang, third down conversion again for Miami. Jalen Wright off the fake to Malik Washington, a little end around, little pitch from Tua. Unbelievable play on 2nd and 8. They pick up the first down there, and a beautiful job for Miami. They end up going all the way down the field, and then Tua to Achane on the TD after he hit Jonnu a couple of times and Waddle again. But at this point, Tua is 17 for 21 for 191 yards and 3 touchdowns in the game. They added a field goal, another 3 and out for New England. Miami gets the ball, chopped with a hit and a forced fumble. Zach Sealer with the recovery, and Miami ends up with a field goal. And that's how the first half ended up ending. It's 24-0 Miami at halftime, and then it just kind of went on cruise control from there. The only touchdown they scored, and New England got a couple of junk ones in the fourth, but the only touchdown Miami got from there was a beautiful play by Sealer, where Sealer caused a strip and a sack, and then Miami recovered it. Brooks with a recovery, Jordan Brooks, and then they hit another touchdown, and that one was to Jalen Waddle for 23 yards. As I said, the Patriots got a couple in junk time. We're over on the break. You're watching your Locked On Dolphins postcast. My name is Jim Gries. Call me Gries. 34-15, the win over New England today. They sweep the Pats on the season. 2nd year in a row, they sweep the Pats. Another conference win. 2nd week in a row, they do that. 3rd win overall in a row. Very close to 4 in a row. That game at Buffalo, man, that was a tough one. And if you think of the Cardinals game before that, those 2 games before then, this could be a 5-game win streak right now for Miami. You could be looking at a 7-4 record. Instead, you're 5-6. But remember I said before this 3-game stretch, they have to win these 3 games. The offense has really started to move and look like themselves, like we thought they'd be coming into the season. Remember, they had no preseason together, and then Tua gets hurt, all these things that happen. But man, oh man, they are grooving, and they are moving now. 34-15 Miami, Locked On Dolphins postcast, rolling on after these couple of things we got to do, taking care of business for you right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Jim Gries, call me Gries, 34-15 Miami with the win. And as always, we have a chance to talk to you about couple of our sponsors, people who support us here on the Locked On Podcast Network, and one of those is Hillsdale College. And time is our most precious commodity, right? All the time, tick, 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 tick. So don't waste time scrolling through the same mind-numbing content for hours and hours when you could be improving yourself, taking courses, history, economics, the great works of literature. Why not? Time and technology have changed a lot of things, but they have not changed basic fundamental truths about the world and our place in it. Well, our sponsor, Hillsdale College, is offering more than 40 free, that's right, free online courses. And get this, those courses include Constitution 101, the meaning and history of the Constitution, Introduction to Free Market Economics, The Great American Story, A Land of Hope, The Rise and Fall of the Roman Republic, and a brand new documentary-style course on Marxism, socialism, and communism. All of Hillsdale's courses are self-paced so that you can start whenever and tune in wherever. Plus, you can go deeper with readings, quizzes, discussions, or just enjoy the lectures. Go right now to hillsdale.edu/lockedon to enroll. There's no cost, and it's easy to get started. That's hillsdale.edu/lockedon to register. hillsdale.edu/lockedon for Hillsdale College on the Locked On Podcast Network. And today's show is also brought to you by Prize Picks. And you guys know how much I love Prize Picks. We're always talking about Prize Picks here with you on the Locked On Podcast Network. And you know why that is, because Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. And I will tell you, Prize Picks helps me all the time. I'm picking more, I'm picking less, I'm making money. I'm getting those deposits within 15 minutes. They make it so easy. They have Venmo now. The withdrawals are there, right there when you need them. All of them are fast, safe, secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. You got to love that. Plus, they invented Flex Play, which means you can still cash out. If your lineup isn't perfect, you can double your money. Even if one of your picks doesn't hit, you can win up to 100 extra money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can play in Florida, that's right, as well as California, Georgia, Texas, over 30 states. For Prize Picks, you sign up today, get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed with Prize Picks. So here's what you need to think about doing right now. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 off instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. And that is Prize Picks. Run your game on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. They are not going to let me upload these overlays, are they? This is very, very... Oh, there goes one of them. I might actually get them by the time we are done with this show. Could you imagine that? How about that? 34-15, Miami with the win. Huge W for the Dolphins. That's 3 in a row for Miami, and 24 points in the second quarter. Unanswered for the Dolphins. Went into the locker room with a 24-0 lead. A beautiful job by Miami. 4 red zone trips, touchdowns on the first 3, the field goal on the 4th. You know what I mean? This team was 2-6. And we saw Skylar Thompson for one play today, and it gave me flashbacks. But we'll talk more about that. And they couldn't even take Tua out and give him a rest and let him finish the game on the sideline and not risk injury. We'll tell you why coming up. But, you know, they punt on their first possession of the second half, and that broke the string. But 4 red zone trips, 3 touchdowns for Miami. Should have been 4 in the first half. In that second quarter, it was their highest scoring quarter of the season. 24 points for Miami there with a beautiful job for Tua and the Pats. They are 2-0 against New England this year. My name's Jim Gries. Call me Gries, by the way. This is the Dolphins Postcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Right after the Dolphins games, you come right here every single time, nowhere else. Locked On Dolphins Postcast right here on Locked On Sports Miami, and then wherever you get your podcasts. That would be Spotify, that would be Apple Podcasts, that would be iHeart, Stitcher, Podbean. But again, right here, the postcast and post-game show for the Dolphins on the Locked On Podcast Network is right here. Locked On Dolphins Postcast. And don't forget, we'll have the Heat Postcast later tonight, Thursday night in Green Bay, 8:20 kickoff. Right after that game, we'll have the playoff scenarios for you. And still to come in this show, we'll look at the playoff race. We'll tell you the star of the game. We'll do a couple of them today. The turning point, the final score graphic, look ahead to Green Bay, look ahead as they're the number 8 team in the conference right now at their playoff chances. That picture the whole thing for your Miami Dolphins right now. Jim Gries, call me Gries, Gries, at Jim Gries _ on social media. Look at that crowd. Look at that. Jonnu Smith up there jumping with Tyreek. What a beautiful thing for Miami's offense to be going and moving the ball the way that it has. Look, in the second half, you got a beautiful play. Where is it? Where is it? Tua and the weapons was a big part of the game today. Yeah, Zach Sealer with a sack and strip, 14-yard loss, recovered by Jordan Brooks. Then Tua hits Waddle for a 23-yard touchdown. And now all of a sudden everything's uploading for me. So I'm loving you now, StreamYard. I got 2 of them of the 4. It looks like maybe the third one is it going to catch here? Oh, come on, baby. I got 2 more to upload for you, and we will keep working on these and hopefully get to them in that last segment of the show. You know what I'm saying? We got 2 of them up already, and it looks like number 3 is uploading. But 34-15, Miami. Sealer played an unbelievable game today. I'd love to have him be one of the stars of the game. Sealer and Chop and Agba, that defensive line tonight dominated for your Miami Dolphins. They did not give Drake May any time. Give that kid credit. He was running for his life. He made some plays late in the game when he hit Austin Hooper, on a 38-yard pass, made it 31-7. The Dolphins take Tua out, and what happens? Skylar Thompson botches a handoff to Jalen Wright. Christian Gonzalez scoops it up, runs it 63 yards for a touchdown. They hit the two-pointer on a hook and lateral. Hello, Nat Moore, Duriel Harris, Tony Nathan. Not Nat Moore, Duriel Harris, Tony Nathan. In that Chargers playoff game, the hook and lateral made famous by the Shula Dolphins, right? Well, 31-15, they put Tua back in. Sanders hits a 51-yard field goal after a 6-play drive that took a minute and 40. 3:33 left in the game. 3-3-3, baby. Angel numbers, 3-3-3. 3 wins in a row for Miami. How about that? You know what I'm saying? 3 touchdown drives in the second quarter in the red zone. You know what I mean? 3-3-3. Yeah, good job by Miami today. And 3 touchdowns in 2 weeks for Jonnu Smith as well. So 34-15 Miami with the win. Before we hit that second break, took you through the rest of the scoring in this game. Again, 24 points in the second, 7 in the third, 3 in the fourth for Miami. New England all 15 in the fourth. May with a 38-yard pass to Austin Hooper on a 4th down play that was a botched coverage that never should have or would have happened. And then the scoop and score. So it should have really been a shutout for Miami, and they lost all momentum in the second half, which I'm a believer in. I wanted to see them finish the job. So what they did here in the second half, even though they've won 3 in a row, even though the offense looks like as good as, if not better than any offense in the NFL right now, but they still gave the coaches a lot to work with in that second half. Some sloppy plays, some penalties, not a lot of points put on the board. They gave the coaches some stuff to work with from that second half, and a very, very short week before you go play Green Bay. Be anxious to see what the injury report looks like, because in a short week like that, you got a lot of guys banged up, so you usually can't even walk till Tuesday, start practicing on Wednesday after a win. But when that's the case and you're all banged up like that, it's very tough to play that quickly, and it's against the Green Bay Packers. You know that. And so there we go. Hold on, man, these things. All right, so 317 yards, 4 touchdowns for Tua. We'll hit the box on the other side, give you the star of the game, the turning point of the game, and that final score graphic. Look ahead to Green Bay as well. The playoff chase, the playoff race. It's 3 in a row, Miami. Should have been 5 when you count the Cardinals and the Bills. Man, oh man, you think about that Cardinals loss now, right, against the first-place team, and the Bills game on the road in a conference game. That was unbelievable. Great performance again, though, by the Dolphins against a bad team. 2 weeks in a row against a bad team. No getting around that. Rams a lot better than these last 2 teams. But what does Miami need to keep doing? What does Miami need to start doing? What needs to happen for this playoff race to become a lot more of a playoff chase for the Dolphins? And then we look ahead to the Green Bay game. We'll give the star of the game, the turning point, and the final score graphic. It's Locked On Dolphins Postcast. Jim Gries. Call me Gries at Jim Gries _ on social media, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every single day. And oh man, I get a chance right now to talk to you about one of my favorite things in the world, and one of my favorite, absolute favorites. I love it every single time I get involved, and I just get in and I sign in and I get my bets going on FanDuel, tackling that NFL action with America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, hey, it's your tomorrow. New customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. What do I mean? I mean, when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats. You can view live play-by-play. You can do so much more right there on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You're going to get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more. Every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Don't forget, new Locked On NFL right now. Your second listen, Locked On NFL, after you make us your first. And we are the Miami Dolphins postgame show right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It is the postcast. We are right here. This is the initiative. Postgame shows right after the Heat game, right after the Dolphins games, the Canes games, the Marlins games. So we are the postgame show on the Locked On Postcast, or Podcast Network for the Dolphins. We're the postcast, and we're here after every game. But for your second listen, make it Locked On NFL. The Madman Tyler Rowland and the Barbershop with Tony Wiggins. The Mornings with Tyler, the Barbershop with Tony. Locked On NFL on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. All right, 34-15 Miami with the win. All right, man, look at this guy. Is my cat in here? Love you, Gries. Red Mamba V's. All right, love you too. Red Mamba V's, love it. BC and Red Mamba V's, thank you for being with us there in the chat. Want to remind you guys, smash that subscribe, right? Hit the like, hit the bell so you'll get notifications when you see the Miami Dolphins postgame show, your Locked On Dolphins postcast, your Locked On Dolphins postcast, right here with me, Jim Gries. Call me Gries. Not to be confused with Locked On Dolphins, which is every day with Kyle Krabs day to day. This is the post-game show right here, the postcast, and then we do it for the Canes. Alex Dono does Locked On Canes. The Heat guys, the Marlins, we're here after the games in case there's any confusion. This is the post-game show. The other stuff is day to day during the week. All right, Locked On Dolphins postcast rolling on. Jim Gries, call me Gries, 34-15. The final score presented by FanDuel. Today, let's take a look at the box score. Let's take a look at the team stats, and then we will give you the player of the game. We will give you all those things that you come to expect and love from us. We actually have one of the stars of the game and the moment uploaded right now, and we're trying to get the rest, and StreamYard just brutal trying to upload these things. I think there goes another one of them. All right, so let's just keep this going right here. And so we got 3 of them, maybe the 4th one, and I've tried each of them 100 times already today. So we will get those things worked out for you. Where is the, come on guys. All right, here we go. For some reason, these things are not, there we go. Okay, come on. All right, let's go to the box score real quick and then the team stats, because really the stats overwhelmingly tell the story of this game today. We'll just hit the Dolphin stats for you before we get out of here. We might even keep it a little bit longer today because we're having fun doing this on your exclusive Miami Dolphins postcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the Miami Dolphins postgame show right here, Locked On Sports Miami. And so here we go. Tua Tagovailoa, 29-40, 317, 4 touchdowns, no picks, 2 sacks on Tua today. Huge game for the Dolphins quarterback, who just keeps getting better and better and better. The 300-yard game, the 4-touchdown game, had the 3 of them last week, 7 in his last 2 games, just like Tony Montana. I got to carve him up real nice, and that's what he's been doing these last couple of games. Some HN, 10 carries, 32 yards, but he had a couple of touchdowns through the air today. And, 19 now total on the season for him. But again, Jalen Wright, 7 for 28, only 24 carries, 64 yards on the ground for Miami overall. But how about this? The targets and the catches for Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill and Jonnu Smith. Jaden Waddle, 8 for 144, a touchdown, his best game of the year. Jonnu Smith, 9 for 87 and a touch after 2 touchdowns last week. Huge game for Jonnu again at the tight end spot. Tyreek Hill, 5 catches, 48 yards. Achane, 3 for 24, 2 touchdowns. Unreal for Miami. And then you look at Jalen Wright had 1 fumble loss. It was a botched handoff from Skylar Thompson, who came into the game for 1 play when it was 31-7. Adios, hasta la vista. It's unfortunate that Tua can't even come out. But Jordan Brooks had a fumble recovery, 9 tackles, 7 solo, 1 for a loss. Zach Sealer, 2 tackles for a loss, a sack, a forced fumble, and 2 QB hits. Chop Robinson, 3 QB hits, a sack and a half, a tackle for a loss. Unbelievable job by him. And, Jalen Ramsey forced an interception coming in on the corner blitz, and that was a nice one as well later in the game, and they were able to score again on that. So really nice job by the Dolphins overall. When you think about it, Tyrell Dodson had the pick today, and overall, and Jason Sanders 2 for 2 on the field goals plus the extra points, 34-15 Miami. And then real quick, got to hit the team stats for you. I don't know where all the rest of this stuff went. Okay, team stats for you. There you go for this game. And when I think about it, 23-14 first downs, 19-8 passing first downs, right? Third down efficiency, 4 for 12 for Miami. They were 4 for 5 in the first half. Again, they gave the coaches a lot to work with in the second half. 373-269 total yards, total plays about even, total drives about even, yards per play about 1.5 yards more for Miami. Passing yards 308-183, 7.3 yards per pass for Miami. 4 sacks for the Patriots to 4 for Miami, 2 for the Patriots in this game. Let's see, rushing yards 86-65 New England. Penalties 10 for 75 for the Patriots. 7 of them on their offense. 7 penalties. They had like 4 false starts. They were killing themselves. Offensive penalties. Miami just 3 for 18. 2 turnovers for New England, only 1 for the Dolphins. It was the botched handoff, Skylar Thompson and Jalen Wright, backup QB to rookie late in the game, and you can't even kill the clock and let Tua rest. And that is something they're going to need to work on. 5 minutes more TOP for the Dolphins, who are big favorites in this game. They get the win, they get the cover, and you know what it is. All right, did we get them? We got 3 of the 4 up right now. So if we can just get that final score graphic. Come on, baby. One more for you. Come on, StreamYard. Let's go, StreamYard. Dun, 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 dun. We got 3 of them. Oh, it's stuck this time. See, what happens is like the little thing will start spinning. It'll say it's taking too long, and it'll stop. But then when it spins a little bit longer, I think we got them. And bang, we got all the graphics up there for you to close the show. 34-15. Miami's got the Dolphins, the greatest football team. I mean, how you feeling, Miami? How you feeling? Let me know in the comments. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Janu is a dog, and so is Waddle. You know what I mean? Akon and Young Jeezy in the Akon voice. There you go. Love it, love it, love it. And you guys are awesome. By the way, smash that subscribe, hit that like, ring the bell so you know when you're going to get alerts when we're coming on with more content for you as well. We have Locked On Dolphins postcast right here. And again, Thursday night after the Packers game, it'll be an 8:20 kickoff. You win that, you're at 500. You're moving on up in the standings. You're already at number 8. We're talking playoffs right now. We're talking keep winning. Keep that offense going. You have no margin for error, really, because of the Cardinals game and then the Bills game on the road. You should have won that game. You had the defensive penalty late. You let Josh Allen do his thing, the huge long field goal. You really had that game won, should have won. Cardinals, too, another first-place team. Those are 2 first-place teams. You should have won those 2. Should have won those 2, and you wouldn't have to worry as much right now, but almost no margin for error for your Miami Dolphins. So Thursday night, we'll be here right after the game with your number 1 and the Miami Dolphins post-game show right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your Miami Dolphins postcast, not to be confused with Locked On Dolphins. It's your Locked On Dolphins postcast with me, Jim Gries. Call me Gries. All right, let's hit these graphics. Let's look at the final score first. Bang, bang, bang. Look at that. Look at that celebration in the end zone. Waddle's making the muscles. You got one of the offensive linemen back there. You got Reek 5 miles up in the air with Jonnu Smith celebrating his touchdown. You win this game by 19 points. You give up the junk touchdown on 4th down, and then the scoop of the fumble, and it's Thompson trying to hand off to Wright, and it's a botched handoff. Really should have been in the 40s or 50s to nothing. Should have been a shutout, but you did not keep the momentum going. If you have any cause for concern, it's the performance in the second half by the offense. They did not get it going. You couldn't even take 2 out and give them a rest, but 34-15, the final. All right, how about the moment? These are the moments. And thank you, by the way. The audience is surging right now. You can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts as well, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on Podbean, on iHeart, wherever you get them. And then right here on YouTube, Locked On Sports Miami, Locked On Dolphins postcast here with the Heat, with the Canes, with the Marlins. You know what I'm saying. All right, let's do the turning point of the game. This is the moment. The Dolphins outscore the Patriots 24-0 in the second quarter. There's Jonnu Smith. We don't care. We take it to the house. MIA, take it to the house. That's right. Jonnu, 3 touchdowns in 2 games, 3 of the 7 that Tua has thrown in the last 2 games. How about this? Any hints here on the star of the game? How about this? We got 2 of them for you before we get on out of here with your Locked On Dolphins postcast. Make sure you subscribe, hit that bell, the like button. Come on in the chat. Come on in and say what's happening. Okay, we did the turning point of the game. 3 touchdowns and a field goal in the second quarter for Miami. Perfect red zone offense. Almost, right? They're really good at scoring in the red zone. Every time they get in the red zone lately, they score. They're like 8 for their last 8 or 9 for their last 9. All right, the stars of the game. The first one is a no-brainer. Tua Tagovailoa. How about Tua today? All he did for your Miami Dolphins was complete 29 of 40 passes for 317 yards, almost 8 yards per play average, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He spread it around. 2 to Achane, 1 to Waddle, 1 to Jonnu Smith. But third down conversions in the first half when that offense was lighting up the scoreboard, they looked Super Bowl worthy. They looked like the best offense in the NFL during that stretch, and that was Tua. Big-time play for Tagovailoa, and just to think a few weeks ago, his career was potentially in jeopardy. Look how he played against the Bills. Look how he played in all these games since he's been back. Just a great job by Tua, and as always, we keep those hands folded in prayer. Couldn't even take him out for Skylar Thompson to botch a handoff and give up a scoop and 6, and you had to put him back in. Imagine if he had gotten hurt after you had to put him back in because Skylar Thompson can't even hand the ball off to Jalen Wright. He puts it right here into the shoulder pad, chest plate, instead of down in the breadbasket where you hand the ball to a running back. And I wasn't even a quarterback. I was a fullback. I was like the Ingold of my team. All right, and the other star of the game, you guys know it could have been Jonnu. It was last week, but how about this dude? It had to be you, Jalen Waddle. My man, he has been waiting for this. My man with the injury in the preseason. My man hardly targeted at all when Tua was out. My man, week after week, wondering, working like a dog in practice. When's my number going to be called? When am I going to get my chance to show what I can do? Have I lost a step? Am I still that dude? My man goes out there today and shows what he could do. Jalen Waddle could be an elite number one receiver for half the teams in the NFL. 8 catches, 144, 18-yard per catch average on 9 targets. The touchdown as well for Waddle. Some big third down conversions. Look, again, 8 for 144. Jonnu had 9 for 87. They both had touchdowns. Tyreek, 5 for 48. So you're picking your poison now if you're playing the Dolphins, right? You're absolutely picking your poison. Because what's going to happen? Look at that celebration behind me. What's going to happen, man? You double Tyreek, you got Waddle single covered, then you got Jonnu single covered, maybe on a backer, maybe on a safety. Either way, that's his advantage, right? Then, look, I know Barrios is out. OBJ has really got to step up. He had a drop today. He doesn't have a ton of targets. They work OBJ into the offense more. The backup tight ends haven't been doing much. The running game, they didn't run the ball much today. They're definitely going to need to work on that. That was really helping them a lot when Tua was out. But catching the ball out of the backfield, that short passing game is money. But as long as Tua is allowed to have a little bit of time and hit those guys in that mid-range vicinity on those in routes, the posts, the digs, the curls, things like that in the middle of the field from that 15 to 30-yard range, he's as good as anybody in the league. Eventually, they're going to hit a couple deep balls too because you're in your bag and you're just pulling strings. 1st and 10, 7 yards, 2nd and 3. I can do anything here. Play action. I can go deep. I can look for Tyreek. I can do end arounds, flip it behind my back to Washington. Or, here comes Jalen Wright. All these sub 4-5 guys, right? Mostert, Achane, Jalen Wright, Waddle, Tyreek, and now Jonnu's killing it. He's run the ball a couple of times out of these formations. McDaniel's in his bag. Tua's in his bag. Everybody is in their bag. Everyone's in their bag, and the defense is like, holy crap, what do we do, man? And in the second half, it bogged down. In the second half, they lost momentum. They're going to have to keep working. The margin for error is completely slim after the Cardinals and the Bills losses, but your Dolphins, after 3 wins, your Dolphins, after 3 of their best offensive performances of the season, maybe the 3 best. Buffalo lost before that was pretty good too. Your Miami Dolphins are back in the playoff race. Your Miami Dolphins are starting to look like the team we thought they would look like early in the season. Your Miami Dolphins still have a lot of room for improvement, and your Miami Dolphins still have no room for error. But your Miami Dolphins, as we bring you Locked On Dolphins every day with Kyle Krabs and the Locked On Podcast Network, and your Miami Dolphins, as we bring you the post-game show, your Miami Dolphins postcast after every game. Your Miami Dolphins are making things a whole heck of a lot more interesting, just like your Hurricanes are, as the Canes 1 more win, and they play in the ACC Championship. 2 more wins, they're in the playoff with a shot at a national title. And now the Dolphins playing their way back into the playoff race. Isn't this fun, Miami? That's all there is, Dolphins fans. There is no more. Shout out to the Mad Dog. All right, Miami. They took care of business. They won these 3 in a row. They're a game under 500. Check, check, check. Now, it's on to Green Bay, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, which hopefully won't be frozen on Thursday. Turkey Day, happy gobble gobble. You get the Lions out of the way, you get the Cowboys out of the way, and bang, Dolphins pack Thursday night, 8:20 kickoff. We're here right after the game with your Locked On Dolphins postcast. All right, that's going to do it for us here on the show today. How awesome is this, by the way, to just be here right after the game with you. Want to thank our title sponsor, FanDuel, as well as Hillsdale College and Prize Picks. Really want to thank you for being here as well. Thanks to the Miami Dolphins for making it such a great game to cover today and such a fun show to do. 3 in a row, baby, as they claw their way back into the playoff race. They stand at number 8 in the AFC right now. That is all there is, Fins fans. There is no more. Thank you so much for being here on the Locked On Podcast Network. You everydayers know it's your team every single day. Don't forget the Locked On NFL shows as well with Tyler and with Tony, and Locked On Dolphins every day with Kyle. Keep on coming back to your Miami Dolphins postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Until next time, Fins fans, Jim Gries, call me Gries, reminding you as always to keep your game tight and your mind right, baby. I am out. 34-15, Miami beats New England.